All right, guys. Well, my name is Oliver Adams. I am originally from Birmingham and then Atlanta, and now I'm in Las Vegas. So we are so excited to join you guys today and talk about some color, some techniques, some tricks, just some things that are going to help you achieve those beautiful dimensional colors like that you see here. You know, we're going to teach you how to use some lightener, teach you how to create and use our toners. So we got a lot of great information packed in this little hour. So we'll give everybody a couple more minutes and then we're going to dive right back into it. You know, guys, we're getting ready for the fall. So I'm going to show you guys how to create blondes, but also how to show you how to transition your blondes into some of those more fall colors and beautiful winter tones. If y'all all right with that. Hello from Tennessee, New Jersey, Charlotte, everybody, all right. Cali, I'm loving it, loving it. Give them some love, give them some love. All right, so what do you guys think about our models? Aren't they beautiful? As you see, we put more like a cool red over here, and we did a more of a warmer coppery blonde tone over here, right? Both of these were created using our new Shimmer Lights Lightener, which we're gonna talk about today. I'm so excited, one of my favorites, right? How many of you guys knew Shimmer Lights even had a lightener, right? I see LA, hi Evelyn. Yeah, so we're gonna be using Clairol Professional today. And we're gonna talk about specifically our Plex Lightener, which is a new product from Clairol Professional that is amazing, okay? It's all about creating beautiful blondes, right? Now, in the past, we were always kind of hesitant on using lightener on curly, textured hair. But now with this great technology, the Plex technology, we are able to go in there and create those beautiful blonde tones without a lot of warmth, a lot of ash. Without a lot of warmth and orange. These lighteners will take you straight through that in a nice, cool blonde result. So we love that. Also with the Plex technology, you're looking at 97% less breakage. So that is amazing. So now we're welcoming using lightener, this particular lightener on textured hair, because you're able to get those lighter tones and able to eliminate brass, but also able to, you know, maintain the integrity of those curls. So this is a great thing. And not only do they have the lightener, also has a treatment, which we'll talk a little bit more into that. So now you're able to lighten those clients and then include a treatment in the whole process. So what that means is when you're protecting their curls even more, the hair is gonna feel better than ever. And you can also upcharge a little bit more for your lightening services because the conditioner is in there. So great, great system. And then on top of that, so you now have a lightener that's safe for your curls. You have a treatment that's going to put back some of that bond properties that are lost in the lightening process. And we also now have toners. So when you see the purple, you know you can have the shampoo, conditioner, also the lightener, the treatment, and now you have toners as well. 3 toners, which we're gonna talk about: Cool Beige, Platinum Ice, and Smoky Pearl. So this is one of our newest products at Clairol Professional that we can't wait for you guys to try it and use it. So we were able to create the lightening for these models, and then we went on top of it with some different fall colors, but we're also gonna show you how they look with just the blondes. This is a perfect example that we went in there and we kind of highlighted it with the Flex lightener, and now we can choose to either tone here or go on top of it with some red colors too, all right? So I'm gonna show you guys how we achieve that. Move these ladies to the side for a second. Is everybody with me? If you're with me, give me a thumbs up, a heart emoji, anything. Tell me you're with me. I got my assistant with me today.
Hey, y'all.
So she's gonna help me stay on top of the questions that you guys might ask. So let's get right into my technique. Now we're talking about Pintura today. Can y'all tell me what Pintura really means, right? Because there's a lot of different ways that we can go about creating highlights and dimension in hair, right? So Pintura is just one of those techniques that we like to use on natural curly hair that has texture, because it's like freehand painting and you're going along with the actual flow of the hair. So that's what we're gonna use the Pintura highlight. Now, generally Pintura means no foils, All right, you're really just hand painting and you're letting it process. Now, I'm gonna show you on one side how you can create it with foils if you're not really comfortable with the Pintura or you have a texture that is gonna be easier to work with the foils. So I don't want you guys to think that one way is right or better than the other. We wanna teach you both so that whatever sits in your chair, you're able to, create the look that you want. So if you see with her, she came in, and shout out for this beautiful model we got from Marlo Beauty Supply. She has really nice textured hair. And so we're gonna use her as an example. Now you see, we have her in 4 sections. All right, nothing too fancy, just 4 sections, right? So this is gonna keep you, organized with where you're putting your highlights and just where that movement is. Now you can start with the middle part. You see, we kind of started with an off-center part. That's gonna allow us to kind of see and control where we put those highlights. Now I like to work in the front section first. So I'll keep all of these sections tied up, but I'll bring this out. Now you'll notice I have left her natural curls. We don't want to go in there and straighten it or blow dry because again, with the Pintura, we want to work with her natural texture in her fall to create the dimension that we want to see. So the curlier, the bigger, the better, that's good. This is gonna allow us to really focus because a lot of times what we go in, we go in and we put the highlights, but then, we don't put them how she's gonna wear her hair. So then they get lost in the sauce. So I always tell when the clients come in, bring your hair how you wear it. If you wear a center part, wear your center part. If you wear it to the left or right, wear that. So that way I'm able to place that color exactly how you want to wear it. Now, ideally for me, color that is versatile, that can go left or right is also a plus. But sometimes you have those clients, they're gonna sleep and die with that left part. Don't move it to the right, don't put it in the middle, or they want to fight, right? So for those clients, we also want to make sure that we're keeping in line with that, okay? Now, always remember when we're doing highlights, whether we're using color or lightener, wherever we put it first, that's where it's going to be the brightest. So that's why I like to start off in the front, okay? I see something. Will you show how to create dimension and texture? Oh, okay. I was like, that's what we're doing. All right, cool. Let me stay focused. So when I'm working from the front, I always like to I work from the hairline back, right? So what I'm gonna wanna do is take about a ½ inch section and let it fall naturally how it would fall, okay? And then we're gonna pin the rest of that back. So this is where we're gonna create our first highlights, okay? So let me mix up the product and show you guys real quick. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them up and my assistant will answer or ask those right now. So far, so good. You see any good questions out there? Y'all with me?
Waiting on the questions.
They ain't got no questions. They smart. I love it. All good. So just to go over it, what we're about to do is the Pintura technique. I'm going to show you guys how to freehand paint, I should say. So what we're going to use is our Shimmer Lights Lightener first. Any questions about our lightener? Have you guys tried the lightener yet?
What volume are you using?
Great question. So let me show it to you guys. It's no tricks or anything. This is just powder, right? You notice it's a little bluish purple tint. So that's gonna allow you as it lifts to cancel out all of that yellow and orange that you do not want to see. Now for her, because her hair is curly, I'm gonna use 20 volume. 20 volume is gonna give me a nice steady lift, but it's not gonna compromise that curl. Plus with her, we're not trying to go super platinum blonde, just kind of like in a honey blonde or maybe like a level 7 or 8. So we're gonna go in with our 20 volume. Yes, Shimmer Lights has its own developer as well. Okay, so this is 20 volume and we're gonna go in here and start to create those highlights.
Key Johnson, she asked, do you prefer clean hair? Textured hair clients tend to have to be heavy with product.
Absolutely correct, that's a great question. For me, I do prefer for them to just bring it in how it is because a lot of times when they go in there and try to remove all that product, they end up going in and really manipulating that scalp. So then it makes it more uncomfortable when it's time for them to process the color. Especially if I know I'm using lightener. Honestly, lightener's gonna go through any type of product that they can have. So I think it's really personal preference. Now, if you have a client that comes in, they have just coming out of braids and they haven't shampooed their hair in 3 months, I personally would prefer not to do that. So might have my shampoo assistant just kind of rinse it out, co-wash it a little bit maybe before the process, but that's just in extreme cases. Other than that, it should be pretty fine. I prefer it to just be how it comes in. Not too dirty though. All right, thank you for that question. Now, a lot of people ask as far as the consistency. I'm gonna show you guys how I love to have my lightener. You don't want it too thick because it won't process evenly, but you don't want it to be too runny, because when you're doing a technique like Pintura, if it's too runny, it's gonna be all over and create those ugly spots in the hair, right?
Tyler Sue asked, do you use the same developer for the front and back in the back sections?
Great question. If I take too long in the front, I might kick it up to 30 in the back to give it time to catch up in the front, but usually I'll just do 20 and just mix up a new batch. So I'll do the front, then I'll mix up a new batch of fresh 20 and do the back. Great question. Now you guys see that texture? All right. So you can move it, but it's not dripping. If it drips off the brush, it's gonna drip all over the hair, okay? So we don't want to do that. So this is a nice consistency that we have. Now I'm gonna go in here with my rat tail. I always like to take a ½ of an inch off that hairline, because what happens if you put too many highlights in this hairline, when they go to pull it back, it almost looks like they don't have a hairline, right? So we wanna keep a little bit of that natural flow. Also, that hair around the hairline, especially on textured hair, is probably the most sensitive or most fragile hair. So you don't want to put too much in here, okay? So I drop that down, then I come in here. Now, what I like to do, you see how thin of a section that is, right? Not too thick. We want to make sure that we're keeping the same hair that we leave out, the same amount that we highlight. See how even those sections are? That's how you get that hair to really diffuse throughout the hairstyle. Okay, now with curls, I don't pull it too tight. I like to have that tension just a little bit tight so you can really see the curl personality in each one of these sections. Some of these curls are gonna be bigger and wanna pop out. Some are gonna be smaller. When you're taking these sections, you don't wanna be so uniform where you're just like weave, 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 weave. Because what that's gonna do is just give you just a kind of monochromatic, it's not gonna give you the diffusion of the color that you want. So we want to take sections where you have a big curl, small curl, big curl within the same section so that you get just like a natural movement of that color. So I'll do.
Lindy Miles asked, what liner are you using and what is the thickness of the liner?
All right, got you. All right, let me show you guys this first and then I'll show you that. All right, you see that? When I take my sections, I like to pull it up and actually visualize where those highlights are gonna be. So you can see this is a highlight, this is a highlight, and this is a highlight. Can you guys see that? All right, so I'm gonna drop that. Can you hand me those foils right there? Thank you. Oh no, we're not even using the foils. I'm gonna show them the Pintura first. So when you're doing the Pintura, what I like to do is take that section, then we're gonna almost make a V. Can you guys see that? Bringing them together. Then I go in. Now when I have my product, I'm not gonna go too high when I start. I wanna start kind of mid-shaft. Mid-shaft to ends, right? Then I'm gonna take my vertical strokes, just like that, and kind of brush towards the top. Now we're gonna leave a little bit of root so that it gives you that natural lived-in balayage effect. Guys see that? I just drop it.
While we're on the topic.
Hand me a towel, baby.
Okay.
And then we're gonna answer. You guys see that?
Someone asked a question about balayage.
So then I drop and go to my next section, okay? Now again, I'm working from the side part all the way to basically the other side of her head.
Bailey asked, is this lightener specified as an open air balayage lightener?
No, it is not. That's a great question. What this is basically just...
Or just regular foil lightener?
It's a regular foil lightener. It's not a balayage lightener. And we created making a balayage lightener by the consistency in which we mix the developer. We can make this thicker where it doesn't have to be necessarily for a balayage. A little bit more liquidy, or we can create a thicker consistency for that balayage. You guys see where I put those highlights, it's not dripping or running at all, right? So that's just because we mixed it with our 20 volume to that consistency, okay? Now, again, for those that are just joining us, what we're using today is our Plex Lightener, our new lightener for Shimmer Lights. It promotes Plex technology for up to 97% less breakage. It's all about clear, cool, blonde results. Strengthening the hair from the outside in, okay? With this product, you're gonna get 7 levels of lift. So that's pretty good, especially if you're coming from like a level 3 or 4, that's gonna get you where you need to be for those blondes. Now I like to use vertical strokes so that we're able to really diffuse that color. You don't want to have a demarcation line, which you can create with that application. Sometimes I'll stand up that section like this and work it upwards. You guys see that?
Bailey asked, could you use this technique on wavy hair as well and still get the same nice diffused effect?
Yes, you can. Great question. And how you would do that, you see you just dropped that, it's all in how you take your sections, right? When you're doing your weaves. So the more apart your weaves are, the more diffusion you get of color. The tighter that you do the weave, the more it looks like solid. So you decide if you want it to be more like a big bang of color right here, then you could do it really, really tight. If you wanted to give you a natural fall that goes all the way through, then you would just separate that in your weave. So you could do a fine weave, the next section do a bigger weave. Then the next section a finer weave and then a bigger weave. And what that's gonna do is just give you a nice diffusion of color, okay?
Yeah, Mel, she asked it won't bleed.
Nope. You can see it right here. I'm doing it right in front of you guys. It's not bleeding at all. I mean, can you guys see that? Let me bring it closer.
Brianna said, I don't understand.
It's not bleeding.
Yeah, Brianna said, I don't understand how that wouldn't transfer because it's still sitting on the hair.
It's like magic. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it doesn't make sense sometimes, but it's all about the consistency. Remember when I showed you right here, right? That's why it's not bleeding, because you see how it's staying on the brush? It's staying where I put it. If I would lift up this bleach and it was dripping down, then when I put it on the hair, it's gonna drip into the next section. If you make it the right consistency, it's not gonna go anywhere. Yeah. I mean, it just won't.
And the right amount of saturation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
William Smith asked, is starting in the back, could you start off with 10 volumes and work up to 20 volumes?
Great question.
You reach the front?
Absolutely you can. And if you feel more comfortable with that, you certainly can. And some people might want it lighter in the back than in the front. You know, I mean, I've had clients that say they just want all the highlights to come from underneath in the back. That's no problem. Wherever you want that hair lightest, that's where you start. And again, if you do start with 10 volume in the back and then go to 20, they're probably gonna catch up around the same time. So it's also based on, you know, your speed and application. We know when we're using lightener that 10 volume will do the same thing as 20, 20 will do the same thing as 30, 30 will do the same thing as 40. The difference is the time and how aggressive you are with the lift. You can leave this with 10 volume and lightener and it's gonna get blonde, but it just might take you an hour. As opposed to use 20, it might take you 40 minutes. 30, it might take you 30 minutes. 15 minutes, and then, you know, 40 and on. So that's how you know how to do it. But for me, when I'm talking about textured hair, I rarely use more than 20 volume on curls because it's gonna start to compromise the curl pattern. 30 on special occasions, especially if they had like previous color before and you need to, you know, bump it up. Or if they have super thick hair and it's very dark, you might have to use 30 volume because that 20 just won't allow it to get through that orange level 5 stage. All right? Okay. You guys with me?
Yeah, they're with us.
They still with us?
Yep.
Now, if you wanted to use foil, I'm showing you guys how you could also do it. So it's not wrong to use Pintura with foil. You just crank out your highlights, then drop that foil on top. So, you know, for those that are scared that it might bleed through.
Kenyon Nelson asked, would you use this on 20 volume on relaxed hair? Sorry.
Yes, I would use 20 volume definitely on relaxed hair. Usually if there's relaxer present, I probably would not use lightener. I would probably go with a permanent high lift color and maybe go with 30 or 40. But you want to make sure that you do that a couple of weeks after the relaxer and a couple of shampoos. But yeah, at all times, I mean, if there's a relaxer present, you're not going to want to use bleach as much.
Brianna Church asked, do you always leave the front hairline out? I always struggle with the front hairline because with this technique, you can't really make it look natural if they end up pulling their hair up.
That's a good point. Good question. I don't always do it, but most of the time I do. And even if I don't leave out that hairline, I'm not gonna take that bleach all the way to the scalp. So if I'm gonna do this one in the front, some people do like that money piece and everything, that's cool. I'm just gonna take it and probably leave like this much off that hairline so that you have kind of a shadow root. For me, again, that's just a little bit of insurance. And again, you know, these days, these women are always on their edges. They doing something. They making these little, you know, what do they call it? Baby hairs, or they using edge control and all these different things. So when you couple that up with that bleach on the hairline, it can cause some issues. And I promise you, no matter what, they're gonna always blame that color first. So for me as an insurance, I just kind of try to avoid putting it right there dead smack on the hairline. But, you know, if they want it, they could get it. It just comes with a little disclaimer. You know, don't be mad at me if them edges come out. Don't be mad at me.
Belinda Casanova asked, do you shampoo after rinsing it?
After I rinse this out? So after this with the Plex, what we'll do is rinse this out. We'll put the treatment on first before we shampoo it. Then I'll put my toner on, then I will shampoo it. Right? Because remember, we talked about Shimmer Lights has the Plex treatment as well. So this is part that's gonna rebuild those bonds and encourage the, you know, 97% less breakage. All right? So we're still working on this section, and you guys, you see it's not really dripping anywhere, but you see how we're getting those bold pieces of color in there, right? Cool, cool, cool. Now, when I get to the top, I like to leave like a little halo, just so that, you know, you can kind of have that color peekaboo. Then also it just makes it a little bit more natural when it comes to the regrowth, right? But you'll see I'm starting off at the mid shaft and then working my way to the ends. Guys, when you go too far on those ends into those roots and you create issues, it's so much harder to fix. So it's much easier to just keep it off of there so that, you know, you don't have to go back and do a lot of toning and deal with hot roots and stuff like that. A lived-in shadow root is kind of on trend anyway, so you guys should really just get in a habit of that. Any more questions? All right, so this would be pretty much what I would do in her front section. See, that's a lot of beautiful color. Then you can kind of see we'll just come over here to the side. And then I'll move on to the toning stage. What are we looking like on time?
That's 5:25.
Okay, we're doing good. All right, so I kind of moved it out of the way and now we're working here. Now, when I'm working on the sides and the back, what I like to do is go in at a diagonal, right? You guys see that? See, when you create that diagonal, now you're able to create those movement in those highlights. Say I just go horizontal and just do my highlights like this. What happens? If I put them here, they just fall here. They don't really move unless you know, you have to manipulate them to move. But when we come in here with the diagonal, because just like in hair cutting, diagonals create movement, right? So when she tucks this behind her ear, that highlight just comes from underneath, right? So that's why we want to get in a habit of using diagonals, especially when you're working on the sides or in the back. All right? Y'all with me? So again, I'm working my way. It's easy to work my way from the bottom up. And you see those curls? See how they pop? That's why you don't want to have too much tension in there, but you can see which curls want to pop out. Now again, just like in the front, I'll leave a little bit on that hairline down and I'll start my highlights somewhere in here. You guys see that? Now here's my highlights right there. Trying to work the angle so you guys can see it. Can you see it? Maybe if I put some foil on it, you'll see it a little bit better. Any questions?
Yeah, Brianna Church asked, what do you charge for Pintura highlights? And does your pricing include toner?
Yes, it all is, great question. It all is included, the treatment as well as the toner and the lightening process. And but Pintura is starting around $250. That includes the style and the treatment, but it can go up depending on, is it gonna be a corrective color situation? Do we have to remove color that was already there? Fix tones that are unwanted? You know, it's not just a flat price, but around $250 is where we're looking at. And that's in Las Vegas and Atlanta, where I do hair both places. And so keep them around the same prices. Anytime I'm breaking out lightener, guys, it's gonna be at least 250. I don't care if we're doing peekaboo highlights, corrective color, whatever we're doing. If the lightener has to come up, it's gonna be 250 automatic. It doesn't matter what length your hair is or any of that stuff, right? Because what we know is that when you're dealing with lightener, you have to understand how to safely lift that hair, how to tone it correctly, how to basically control those different colors. And so more than anything, you're paying for that, as well as the time that it takes to get those blondes perfect. And honestly, blondes take a long time. So we have to charge accordingly for our time. Guys, see my highlights? I'm going in.
Brooke doesn't have a question, but she says she's in beauty college, and she has shared this to all her peers, and she's excited to learn more about textured hair.
Oh, thank you so much. We love to hear it. We love the students, because I found if you learn right, you don't have to go back in and unlearn bad habits, and you could just focus on what's important, and that's making your clients happy, producing beautiful results, and most importantly, getting paid. All right? So again, with that vertical stroke, that's what's gonna allow you to kind of brush that color on and then not have that line, right? Can you guys see that? Where as this grows out, you're not gonna have that demarcation where it's just, you guys ever seen it looks like barcodes sometimes, right? I cannot stand that, right? So what we wanna do is make sure we're using our vertical strokes to just go in there and soften that line. I always like to visualize a V, almost just like balayage, it's just the same, right? We'll do this last section and I'll move her out the way and we can get into the toning of it all.
Haley Gregory asks, how long do you book on average for Pintura and styling?
Oh, great question. I usually allow two to 2.5 hours for Pintura. I actually can do Pintura faster than like a full highlight. I'm actually slower now because I'm talking to you guys. I probably would have been mostly done. For me, Pintura works really, really quick. Once you have those sections right, you can just fairly quickly move in and out. So no more than 2 hours usually. Great question. You guys see that when you have the texture of this Plex Lightener right, it's so easy to just paint it on.
I don't think they heard us, so we're gonna ask again, how long would you book out the salon to do this technique?
2 hours. 2 hours for me to book out this. Everything should be able to be done in 2 hours. The lightener works fairly fast, and then toning and the treatment. So yeah, about 2 hours. Usually when they get this Pintura, they're not gonna get it pressed out, or just depending on the style. If she wanted something elaborate, you might add another hour for that, but pretty quick and easy. All right, so you see how you kind of visualizing how that color's gonna come out. And you can see, you don't really see where it starts or stops. All right, you guys see that? But you see those highlights are really prominent. I always like to keep a little bit of dark down in there. That makes your highlights pop a little more, guys. If you're not using bleach and you ever want your highlights to pop more, use a darker base color. You don't have to go as high, right? So that's just another tip and trick for you. But again, with this lightener being so advanced with the technology, it's really nothing to go in there and get your levels to lift without compromising that hair. All right, now as far as processing time, depending on how light I'm gonna want her to go, I would probably process this lightener from anywhere from 30 minutes for my honey blondes to like 45 minutes for my lighter blondes. All right?
Haley said, yes, I can see the color will be popping.
Absolutely, there you go. Somebody that has a little vision out there. Yes, yes, it will be. And that's the thing, guys, when you're doing these type of techniques, you can't just be randomly doing it like you got a blindfold on. You gotta kind of step back sometimes, look at it, see how it's gonna fall. You might, have you ever, I get on my kids when we do the Christmas tree, I tell them they always wanna help with the ornaments, but then when I let them, the little ones, they put all the ornaments on the same side. Then there's like 2 over here and like 20 over here. You could do the same thing with highlights, where you're putting too much highlights on this side and then it's not balanced on this side. So for me, stepping back, looking how it's gonna fall, and then putting it in sections will help you out a lot, okay? So again, let me go in here, grab me a few more sections, and you guys can see even in the front where it's lightening, they're still not dripping, but you don't see a lot of orange or yellow or brass. just coming out beautiful, all right? So we can even see with our little halo that falls over it, that she's just gonna have a nice little pop in the front. She's gonna love that, okay? So I'm gonna show you guys what it would look like after we would process that for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? And this is with the 20 volume. We went ahead and did one earlier so you could see just the beautiful, now this is before the toner, right? And that's what you wanna see. Again, we told you we were going for a honey blonde, so we didn't go super, super light, but we did get that lightness, and you see how natural it looks. And what's beautiful about this is it's not a lot of brass already, right? So now we go in with our toners. Get rid of that, hand me that other bowling brush. Now, we have 3 toners. We have Cool Beige, Platinum Ice, and we have our Smoky Pearl. Now, how you decide which one you're gonna use. Smoky Pearl is gonna be our most ashiest. It's gonna be the coolest. I mean, Platinum Ice is cooler, but it's a higher level, right? So when you're wanting to get rid of all yellow and orange completely, you don't want any warmth in it, you're gonna use your Smoky Pearl. Now, you have to be careful because sometimes that Smoky Pearl, if you leave it on too long, it's gonna give you a little bit more of that bluish purple tint. Now, some people want that. If you don't, you just have to make sure that you watch it and take it off in enough time. You know, once you lighten that hair, those pores open, so it's gonna grab that color very, very quick. Now, my favorite is the golden beige, the cool beige. Because what that's gonna do is allow you to get rid of a lot of that warmth, but it's gonna keep just enough warmth to give those highlights a little bit of honey, give it a little bit of, you know, filler, a little bit of color. My favorite, so that's what I'm gonna put on her, all right? Now, when I'm dealing with those super light blondes, that ice baby, you're gonna wanna use Platinum Ice. And that's for achieving those silver tones, those silver foxes, you know, anything very, very high, like level 10 or above, Platinum Ice is gonna be the way to go, right? This is what they look like when you see them in the store. Shimmer Lights, when you see the purple, it's a go, all right? So I'm gonna mix this for you guys right quick. Any more questions, assistant? Let me grab this color real quick.
But Marlo Beauty Supply said highlights equals ornaments.
But they said what?
When you made the analogy about the ornaments and the highlights.
They get it? You getting it? All right, so the Cool Beige comes in a tube like this, right? It doesn't work unless you mix it with the developer. Now, I usually mix mine with 10 or 20 volume depending on what I'm putting on top. Sometimes you might do your lightener and it doesn't give you the lightness that you want. You can go ahead and bump that toner with 20 volume. It's gonna give you an extra level and a half of lift, all right? If you have it light enough and you just want the tonal, you can mix this with 10 volume and it's ready to go, all right? You put this on towel, dry hair. You don't have to dry the hair. You would have already did the treatment and and rinsed out the lightener.
Show the box.
This is the box right here. Looks like that, right? This mix is 2 to 1. 2 parts developer to 1 part color, toner. This toner is a permanent color, which means it's not going to rinse out when she shampoos it. So make sure you're formulating and picking the right one, all right? So when you mix it up, it should be a nice consistency as well. The great thing about this toner, you don't have to go in here and individually pick out each highlight for the toners. You could just put it all on. But remember, keep it off the roots because it is half 20 volume and it will lift. So if you don't want hot roots, keep it off the roots. But if you put it on the darker hair, it's just gonna make your blend a little bit more, you know, beautiful, so it's okay. When you mix it, see that texture? It's a little bit runnier. So you have to make sure that you're putting it where you want it to be, but keep it off her face and skin and all of that, all right? So let's go on here real quick. You guys see that? You can see the highlights already. Like, let me move this closer to the camera.
Yes, you're supposed to shampoo before the lightener.
Here you go, right here. Shampoo before the lightener.
Yeah, shampoo the hair after the lightener, but before the toner.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do. I usually condition mine first with the Flex treatment. Again, with this treatment, you can shampoo it. If you're gonna shampoo it, you do it lightly, 1 shampoo, keep it off the scalp, okay? Okay, cool. All right, guys, so we're going on here now. This hair has been shampooed with the treatment, and then now we're going right on here. It's been towel dried, okay? And then we just go on here and spread it in, right? Now for this section, I would definitely use a foil just to keep it off of her face. Just kind of cut it right there and just let it drop right on top like that, right? And let it sit on there, okay? And we just work our way through the sections. It's very important that you saturate this toner because if you don't, you're gonna have spots. So you can't just go in here and try to rush it. You gotta actually still take the sections and go on in there and make sure that you're keeping it off the roots, but making sure you're saturating it. And I like to keep this toner on for about 15 to 20 minutes. And what it's doing is really just going in there and making that beautiful color and getting rid of all that warmth. Any questions on the toner, guys? See those highlights? Looking beautiful, you can already see. But you see that placement is just gorgeous. We're going in.
Nice.
You could do this at the shampoo bowl too. I mean.
Yes, someone asked if you use 20 volume, do you use a bump in the base?
No, we pre-lighten these first. So I only use 20 volume if I want to get maybe 1 or 2 more, 1.5 little level of lift just to get it out of that. What happens when you're lifting to blonde, right? Especially from darker colors, it goes through, it doesn't just go from dark to blonde, right? It goes through level 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When you're going through those levels, you're pulling, level 5 and 7 have the most orange. Have you ever lifted something and it goes from black to orange in about 10 minutes and then it just seems like it's stuck on 10 minutes on that orange for like an hour, like you put it under the dryer, you do everything. That's because 5 and 7, those levels are the hardest to bust through. So say you use lightener and it only gets you to like a level 6, but you still want to get a level 7, 8 for that perfect blonde. You don't have to go in there and re-bleach it again. That's another step. What you can use is use the toner with 20 volume and get that extra level of lift. So that's why I'm using 20 volume. It's just gonna make your highlights pop out a little bit more.
Bailey asked, can the toner lift her natural color?
Just by itself, it would, but it's not gonna give you a lot of lift. I mean, if you use it with 20 volume, it might give you 1 level of lift. It's just gonna barely break the base. So you wouldn't wanna like really highlight or anything with toners unless that hair is already super light. But if it's dark, it'll give you a little lift, but I don't think it'll be enough for you to really, you know, say, it would definitely not give you this much lift, okay?
Diana asked, do you place the toner only on the highlighted parts?
No, I'm putting it basically on all over, just keeping it off the scalp. So you'll see I'm grabbing these sections and I'm not just grabbing the highlights out, I'm putting it on the whole thing. Great question. See, this is a fairly quick part, and you start to see those tones already, if you guys can see that. It's just cooling them on off, right? Taking out all that orange and all the brass. And this has a very pleasant smell, so your client's gonna love it. It's very gentle. It's not gonna cause any damage to your curls. It's just a beautiful, beautiful toner. All about cool blondes. Any more questions? Probably got about 15 more minutes or so. So if you got questions, please get them in. Also, when you lift up to this level, this is like a level 6 or 7, you don't always have to go blonde. Like I showed you guys earlier, these are ideal levels for you to create those beautiful coppers and those beautiful merlots and cranberries and crimson colors. A lot of times, if you don't lighten that hair first, you're not gonna get the vibrancy from those reds. Even if it's not like a super bright red, even if you're using plum. If I was to put plum on just level 2 hair, I'm not gonna see it. But if I go ahead and lift it with this Plex Lightener and then put the plum on top, even though plum is a dark color, your plum is really, really gonna pop. So pre-lightening is often a very necessary step. And again, I just tell people, you know, if it's gonna be too much for you, then you just gotta charge a little bit more for your time. But it's gonna definitely make a huge difference. And so you'll see I just take that section and just kinda get it out the way. And we can move on to the next section. You guys see that? Any more questions? That's our first section, then we just move it over here.
How can I follow you? Don't ask. Color King.
Yes, please follow me. I put it right here on the, I pinned it where it says Pintura Highlights with Clairol Pro and Color King. That's my name. Please do follow me. I know we're moving pretty quick, so if you have questions offline or you just want to check in, please do hit me up, and I'll follow you back.
Pearl asked, what color toner do we end up using?
Cool beige. This is our cool beige. So this is where we want to create that nice, those beige, I call them honey beige highlights. She wasn't trying to go super, super blonde. She just wanted, some nice dimension in her hair. So we used the cool beige. One of my favorites.
Bailey asked, when it breaks the base, can you tell that more of the warm undertone is peeking through?
It just depends. Again, everybody's undertone is different. Of course, with the Mannequins, they don't have a lot of undertone, but it just depends. But yes, when I'm lifting, I'm definitely looking for undertone because we know, just like they taught us in beauty school, the real color is what comes out of here and then what you're putting it on top of, which is almost even more important. So the desired level is always based on the level that you're putting it on. So yeah, for sure. We want to make sure that we are...
Nayeli asked, would you ever mix your toners?
Yes, we can mix these toners. I do mix my toners, actually. Customized color is what I'm all about, so you can definitely mix our toners. Now, we don't mix toners within brands. But I'm saying I might mix these two toners, like a little bit of this, a little bit of this, but I'm not going to mix this with any other of our toners on the brand. No. Great question.
Araceli asked, is it not going to lighten the rest of the hair?
No, guys. It might bump the dark a little bit, but that's okay. I don't mind if it bumps the dark a little bit. It's not gonna eliminate my highlights. It won't give me that much of a bump. So it's really gonna be more of a blend. You know what I'm saying? So no, it won't hurt. Now again, I do keep it off the roots because it will create hot roots. But as far as putting it on a dark color, it's only gonna blend. And it's okay if I give it a little bump. Now, if you didn't want to give it a bump, you would have to go in there and take out your highlights individually. But for me, this always works just to give it a nice, because it's just gonna tone out any warmth that might be in the darker hair too. It just give it a nice blend. But it's not wrong if you take it out. It's not wrong if you put it all over,
Elsa says she can't wait to see the results.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be beautiful. I'm excited about it myself.
Araceli asked again, she said, this is what I want to ask. What about Burgundy?
Burgundy is beautiful. Now, here's the key to my Burgundies. What I always do, I lift my Burgundies to a level 5, right? Level 5 is right there where you see that orange, right? I lift it up there and then I put that Burgundy in. What that's gonna do is allow that Burgundy to pop, and then it just gives you just that beautiful, rich Burgundy that you're looking for. If you put Burgundy hair on hair lighter than level 5, like level 7, 8, 9, then sometimes what does purple do? It cancels out yellow. And when you're at 7 and 8, you're at yellow. So when you put burgundy on top of that, it kind of tends to not be that beautiful, vibrant burgundy because they cancel out and it comes more like a muted brown burgundy. But if you keep your burgundies at a level 5 where that orange is, where it got that warmth in there, and then you put the burgundy on top, it's like that burgundy attaches to that orange and just makes a beautiful burgundy. So that's what I do for my burgundies. Any of my Merlot colors, my cranberry, crimson, I always take them to a level 5. So that's another tip. And also one more tip, if you really wanted to be standing out and vibrant, you could double coat it. Meaning once I've done all that, I rinse it out and then I go back on top of that same red with the same formula for 20 more minutes. Almost like when you're doing a second coat of paint. It's gonna make it so much more richer and beautiful. That's another key. It's gonna make your burgundy stand out more than anyone else's in your city, I promise. Just by taking the time to double coat your reds. That's something we've been doing in editorial and photo shoots and billboards. We always do it. So that's another little quick tip for you guys. If you're not double coating your reds, you should be. All right?
Color King, where can we purchase these products?
You can purchase these products at Marlo Beauty Supply. First and foremost, their website is where I got it from. You guys noticed a couple weeks ago I did a TikTok about, getting your package in the mail is always such a great feeling. But that's the #1 spot. And then, anywhere the Clairol is sold, so Sally Beauty or wherever else, that's where you can get it. But if you're smart, you'll go on marlobeautysupply.com and order it up. Okay, any more questions? Now with this, don't need heat. It's just gonna sit for about 20 minutes. And then we'll get a beautiful color. You guys see those highlights though? Getting nice and toned. Any more questions? See, and even in here, like, there's not a lot of highlights, but I still see some like warmth, a little bit more brown, that mousy brown or orange that I don't really want to see. So it doesn't hurt for me to go and put my toner right on top of that.
Tori said, thank you so much for this information.
You're so welcome. I hope you guys are learning something. I know it's hard to learn this stuff going so fast, but hopefully you guys are learning and something's sticking and you could take something to make your blondes a little bit better.
Yes,
all right?
Diana said, yes, it's cheaper at Marlo.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, Marlo's is the place to be. So you guys make sure, and I think we got a promo code or we're having a giveaway or something. So you guys stick around. Marlo gonna take care of you guys for tuning into this class, for sure.
Let's see, Kathy asked, what if they have previous highlights? How do you keep them from browning out? Do you add orange filler?
Nope, you don't have to add anything when you're using these toners. They're built for cool blonde results. So it's gonna ash out everything you need. Now, depending on how old the highlights are or what they're looking like, we might go in there and just create more highlights. We might have to go in there and bump them up a little bit more, you know. It just depends. With this type of situation, there's not just like a one answer. It's all based on what that person is bringing in, if that makes sense.
Melissa said Marlo is awesome.
Marlo is awesome. Tell them to bring me back, guys. If you want to learn more about color and texture and coloring texture, we got some styling tricks for you guys. You know, an hour is just so hard to get it all in, but if you guys love it, make sure you go back and tell Marlo you want to learn more about texture and you want to learn more about our products.
Somebody asked, what products do you use to style the curls after the color?
Oh, so many different products. It just depends. You know, that's a whole nother class. But Wella has a lot of great products that are specially designed for curls. So we're using a lot of that. So if you guys would check out some of those products, you will love them.
Kelsey Elizabeth asked, what are your favorite mannequins from Marlo?
I really like this girl right here. I can't think of her name. And I don't know where her box is, but she's a great one. If Marlo's on here and you guys know what it is, I should have had that out, but these are really, really good mannequins. They have great hair. They take color really, really well. And I think on Marlo's website, they have a variety of different types. So, you know, no matter what texture.
You're out of the shot.
Oh, my bad. All right, so we're gonna let her process. Any more questions, guys?
Yeah, let's see. Is there a Marlo in Vegas?
I don't know if there's a Marlo in Vegas. I always use the online situation. You know, do people really go to these stores anymore?
Someone said, I think they ship all in USA.
Yeah, they ship. So this came right to my door. So you see how beautiful these blondes are? Very nice and cool.
Christina Mann said, I want more textured classes.
Let's get it. Me too. Texture is the wave, and it's the wave. And so it's so many different things that you have to do to make sure that you are coloring textured hair to keep the texture. It definitely needs its own category, you know. So I hope you guys do, you know, request more texture knowledge, texture education. There's so many products and different techniques for texture. So yeah, just the more you guys ask for it, the more we will deliver. All right? That's good.
Okay, someone said, yes, more textured hair education. Please, Marlo.
Yes. We could do a whole texture series because there's so many different things. I just wanted to show you guys Pintura because it's one of the things we're doing in the salon right now. And it's a lot of fun to be able to, you know, just like how these women, they ask for the diva cut. They like when you can service their hair in its natural state. So just like the diva cut, Pintura is a way that you're able to really cater to those women that really like their natural hair and the shape, and you're able to customize the highlights and the special effects based on what their hair texture is doing. And so it's a great product, a great service to introduce to your salon. And just quite frankly, most people aren't using Pintura anymore. It's not nothing new. It's something that we have kind of brought back and recreated. But it's such a fun thing to do in the salon. And when other clients see clients get it, they're like, "Ooh, I want that." And something great that you can teach your staff. And you know, the versatility, like I said, you could go blonde, right? But you can also use that same technique to go a little bit more red, you know, or you can jazz it up and you can go copper, you know. These were all used creating this, these were all created using the same technique. So you see, you have the versatility. It's like a little party, a curl party, right? So this is why I wanted to show you guys Pintura. Next time, we can get into more of block color techniques, or we can get in more into balayage or ombre or even corrective color or even formulating. There's so many different things that go into creating beautiful color. It's all about being comfortable and understanding your techniques and your products and how to use them. So that's what we want to do. We want to not just introduce you to our new products, but show you how to use them, show you how you can create these beautiful tones, not just talk about it, but really tuned in. And she's looking beautiful, but I'm just gonna tone her a little bit more as we head out. Do you guys have any more questions?
Diana said she cute.
She cute, right? Ain't she cute? Exactly. So even for me, these curls are just a little bit the contrast between the two. I wanna just kind of bring it a little bit closer together. So I'm gonna just go in here. And again, I'll grab that section. I'm not taking the time to go out and pull out these highlights, but I can actually just do it right here.
Lisa Jones asked, what about after highlighting, adding low lights?
You could definitely do that. Absolutely. You can add low lights. I love adding low lights for sure. And you can even use low lights. You can add dimension into hair using the same toner, right? We could use that cool beige and I can mix one with 10 volume and one with 20 volume. And then I can low light and highlight at the same time and create dimension, still on the same tone, but creating darker tones and lighter tones just by shifting the developer. So there's a lot of different ways you could do it, or you could actually go in there and use a whole different thing. You could low light with demi, semi. I mean, it's just all kind of stuff you could do for sure. So yes, definitely low light.
Kathy says she loves the burgundy.
Love the burgundy, yes. Thank you so much.
And then Diana said, thank you so much. She learned so much.
Oh, I love to hear that. That is so great. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. Makes it a lot easier when you guys are learning with me.
And being interactive.
Yes, for the interaction.
Any other questions?
Give my shout out to my assistant for being a great help. Thank you so much.
You're the best.
I usually have to do this by myself, and I'm like foiling and typing and answering questions, so it's been great to have you. I appreciate you.
It's my pleasure. Let's see.
I see a lot of love coming up. I appreciate y'all. I can't really read it. I can't see it, but I see the hearts going up.
Yeah,
so if y'all really want a true corrective color class, y'all got to do some homework first. And I need you to understand and master semi-permanent, demi-permanent, permanent color, high lift color, and bleach lighteners, powder lighteners, liquid lighteners, oil lighteners, gel lighteners. We can't even start to talk about corrective color until we understand everything that color can do. Once we can understand, oh, okay, I use permanent color for this. Oh, I use bleach for that. Oh, I don't have to use bleach for that because I can use this for that. Until we're talking on that level, we can't really have a successful corrective color class. So if you guys are serious, I need you to do your homework, master every color portfolio, every line, every level, understand all of that, and then we can really talk about how we can fix anything. I'm talking about anything that comes into the salon. There's nothing that can come in this salon that we can't fix, but that's because we totally understand everything about color. It's not that I'm better than y'all, but I just understand completely everything about not only color, formulation, and application. So if you don't know those things, we can't even talk corrective color, but I would love to talk to you guys about corrective color because it's not that hard. But you have to understand the basics. You can't be a doctor without your bachelor's or your master's. So if you guys get your bachelor's and your master's, we can do this whole doctor thing, okay? But I'm out of time. I really, really appreciate you guys. I'll try to make a video with the final looks of all the girls together.
The video will be saved.
The video will be saved. But I appreciate you guys. Again, my name is Oliver Adams, top artist for Clairol Professional. It's been a pleasure to introduce you guys to our new Shimmer Lights Lightener. What's it called? Plex Lightener, right? And what does it have? Plex technology, right? It's gonna give you 97% less breakage. It's gonna give you clear, cool, blonde results. It's gonna strengthen that hair from the inside out, and it's gonna give you 7 levels of lift, all right? So that's my spiel on our great product, and it's got that amazing Shimmer Lights Plex treatment too. So you guys try it. They cut me off. There it is. And follow me at Color King, okay? Thank you guys so much. Peace.